Hey everyone, this is Chris and Sandy Bent with the Chris and Sandy Show. We get up close and personal with some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And today, like I said in every episode, we got a great show for you.
We've got Larissa Gaines. She loves singing, songwriting, dancing, modeling, competing in pageants and various talent competitions. She is passionate about all things creative from fashion to the arts, and she is also the current junior Miss Magnolia State.
and we're excited to have her on for you.
Yes.
So, Larissa, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It's definitely our pleasure.
Yes.
Now, we're in a tough time right now with COVID. So, how has COVID affected you and what you do? What are some things you've done to maneuver through this crazy new maze?
Absolutely. So this is actually one of the questions that I got in my interview whenever I was competing, and I'll say it again. COVID has definitely been an eye-opener to a lot of people, and it has definitely shut down our world in a way. And so we are kind of having to figure out ways to maneuver through these times without putting people in danger and while keeping everyone safe. So doing things like community outreach or being able to go and visit my grandmother, who I visit in the Culpeper Assisted Living Home. We've just been able to try and figure out ways to maneuver around that by doing social distance events by my dance team right now, we're going to do Egg the Yard, which we're helping out the parents and egging the kids' yards. So we don't really have social interaction, but we're still able to get out and help the community.
And I've noticed something too, that I believe that the future of like music is going to be, because it's always been people live stream or people were live, but they never really connected the two. I bet the future, and it's funny because I was just on Facebook a while ago and I actually seen Christian Bush post that he's doing a live show, but he said if you're not local, don't worry. They're live streaming it too for $20 for $20 tickets. That's, I think, the future of a lot of artists and stuff like that. Events where you can have your live show, but you can connect your online audience too now.
Mm-hmm. Right. Definitely, because this year during Miss Magnolia, they live stream it every year, but usually not a ton of people get on the live stream because they're allowed to have more people in the venue. So this year, you can still go and watch the live stream on Facebook, but there's so many more people on it this year than there were last year just because of COVID restrictions, which I think is absolutely amazing that we're being able to interact with people more and have more of an audience because there's more capabilities now.
Yeah, and because if this would have happened 10 years ago,
right,
it would have hurt. I mean, it hurt anyway, but it really would have hurt our country.
It would have, definitely.
Because at least the technology was there, just ready for people to run with it.
Right.
So, that's just like with us, we launched this show in January 2020, a couple months before COVID.
Yes.
And I remember thinking, I'd like to do 100 interviews first year. We thought if we could do that.
We were like, yeah, that would be a lot of interviews.
And we thought that was pushing it, to be honest with you, but we went for it. And then COVID happens. And I told Sandy, well, this could be our silver lining,
exactly.
Maybe our time to shine. So we stepped it up. And because of that, we did over 300 interviews last year.
Yeah, it's a lot more entertaining for people whenever you can't go outside your house, you're quarantined inside. So podcasts and interviews and online stuff like this, the views and stuff have skyrocketed just because people can't leave their house as much as they would like. So it's a new form of entertainment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And hopefully it's here to stay because we're betting on our show being big eventually.
I feel like even if COVID disappears, I feel like now that so many more people are aware of this world that we have on the entertainment industry through live streams and podcasts and stuff, I feel like it'll still stay pretty popular just because people are enjoying it even now that obviously in Mississippi the quarantine restrictions have been lifted. Like you can go outside your house more, so. But
what's
people are
funny
still
is
obviously being in touch with things like this.
What's funny is in Georgia, I think we went a couple months.
Yeah, it was about 2 months.
By the end of April, we were back to normal.
Oh, wow.
And since September, we've been back in our church and all that.
Yeah, we saw a lot of things starting to open up, and then it was like they would shut down again, and then it would open up. And then you'd see people without masks and people with masks, and no one was on. And now we're kind of at a flat line right now. We're just all kind of waiting to see what happens next. But things are looking up. So
That's like, on the 21st, we're planning on spending 5 days in Nashville. So we're hoping that.
Yes, so excited
So
about that.
excited. We've never been to Nashville, and we're planning on. It's funny. We do the opposite of a lot of people. We've never been there, but we're going to definitely move there. We already know
yes.
Yeah.
that. So what are some hobbies you like to do outside of pageants and all that?
Okay, so funny story about the pageant hobby. So pageants never were really a hobby. I was never interested in them. I told my mom for years I would never do pageants. They weren't my thing. I was interested. And then all of a sudden one day I was just like, what do I do? Like, let's go for it. But outside of pageants, which have now kind of become an obsession of mine, I like to sing, I like to dance, and do different things like modeling and outside outreach of community service.
Wow. So you're the current junior Miss Magnolia State. Tell us about that title.
All right, so the Junior Miss Magnolia State and all the other divisions, there's a Junior Miss, Teen, Miss, and Mrs. So there's that pageant system, and then there is the exact same pageant system for younger kids, which there are 7 divisions for, which consists of Baby Miss, Teen Miss, Tiny Miss, Young Miss, Little Miss, Preteen Miss,
Wow.
and Little Miss. So there's a huge variety for all different age groups of kids. But you see a lot of the older divisions, junior, teen, miss, and Mrs. So it's an absolutely wonderful organization. They make it so much fun. And even this year with COVID restrictions, they found amazing ways for the contestants to still feel in touch with each other, but stay safe. So it's just amazing seeing things like pageants, or like the normal things that us kids love to do. We're still able to do it in a healthy way. I get questions all the time on my TikToks and stuff, because I'll post videos of back in November whenever I was crowned, and people will be like, why don't y'all have masks on, like on stage? And I'm like, but you don't see the fact that we're 6 feet apart. Like, we're taking those precautions.
Exactly.
But
That's good.
you don't see backstage that as soon as we get back there, the first thing we do is we put on our masks. We had especially in evening gown and stuff, we would hook our masks onto our heels, or we would leave them on our wrists, or we would stuff them underneath our dresses or something, so that they weren't necessarily visible to the audience and they felt like they were getting a normal experience without the masks. But we were still being cautious backstage, making sure that everyone was safe.
So someone asked, what do you think of the toddlers and tiaras?
So I get this question a lot from different newscast stations and my friends and stuff. I've never watched toddlers and tiaras, but from what I've seen, it's a very unrealistic way of showing things. Obviously on TV, things can be fabricated, things can be scripted, whether they say it or not. And some of our favorite TV shows that they say they're reality, or this is actually how the people act, a lot of the times they will have their actors not necessarily be who they are, so it isn't really reality, because you have to have that fight in you to create drama to get views. That's just how our TV is now. So I think it's a very unrealistic. I mean, I've met several little girls who are in pageants, and of course there are going to be those kids who think that they're better than everyone, or that they are showing that fabrication of pageantry to be true. And I think that's very sad that that is everyone's idea of pageantry, that from toddlers and tiaras, or from different videos where kids are acting like their attitude is unexcusable, that it's just how everyone is. But like,
it's not.
I've met several little girls through this like past 7 months of my reign, and they have been absolutely sweethearts, like the sweetest people ever. I think I've seen more kids walk up to their mom and say, hey mom, I'm tired, I need a nap. And instead of crying, I think I've seen these like 5 and 6 year olds be more responsible than some of the teen girls that I know. So I think it's just crazy how people think that's how everyone is, and instead of actually getting to know girls who do pageants or that model or do different things, that everyone has this conception that we're brats or we're petty or like all these different things. Instead of getting to know us, they let TV create the social standard of who we are.
And that's the negative effect to reality TV. Now, we're reality TV junkies, don't get me wrong.
Yes, we love to watch
but
them.
We're also know that even though it says the word reality, a lot of it's really not reality.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
dramatized.
dramatized. And so, that's one of the issues that I do see is a lot of these shows popping up doing like that, from the dance moms and other stuff.
Yes,
And it really dramatizes
competition
everything, and
things.
it makes it look like everybody is after everybody. And like you said,
Yes,
that's for ratings, and we get that. And
we get that.
that's the negative side of that.
I will watch interviews of girls who have been on Dance Moms or have been on Tyler's FTRs just on YouTube. And afterwards, they're like, you have to have that fight in you of producers telling you, like, hey, I need drama to get views up. Which
Yeah.
is crazy that that's how it is. But that's like what you need to keep people interested.
Exactly. So what is, and since we're talking about this subject already, and I already know what this is, so what's your platform?
So my platform is #YouAreEnough. I actually have a bracelet on today that says #YouAreEnough. I don't know if you can see it or if it's backwards. But I have those bracelets, and basically it stems from a real life experience that happened to me that it's sad that a lot of people discredit these things. In third grade, fifth grade, I was heavily bullied. And that pretty much lasted in different forms of different people, all the way from fifth grade to about seventh going into.
Just like Sandy.
Oh yes, yeah, that's the
Really?
same around the same time period. Yeah,
Wow.
I went through
And it's
from around then.
It's crazy that that's the normal now. Like
Right.
back then and now, like nothing's changing. We're still allowing these things to happen to our kids, and everyone's saying that these kids, these new generations, are what's going to save our country and stuff. But we're not focusing on the things that are happening to them whenever they're younger. Like if I couldn't find my own self-worth of how I feel about myself now in the platform I've created to help kids in my school and around Mississippi, then who knows how I would have turned up. Like we're not focused on these ideas and the things that we're allowing our children to be around. And so they're ending up mentally and physically broken and not feeling the best about themselves. So that's really what #YouAreEnough is about. It's creating that self-worth in the kids from a young age to last them all the way up until adulthood, to where they can finally deal with the pain that they went through and figure out it was worth it all. And I'm so glad that I had a way to get through it. So I've put bracelets. There's a kindness bucket up in our front office. Kids will grab them. It's only been up there for 1 or 2 months. And that bucket's about this big, and it's almost empty.
Oh wow.
Actually, these things that are young kids like me and other girls who are in pageantry who have these beliefs that are so powerful, it's obvious that they're improving and doing something. So that's why even whenever people still constantly hate on me or they constantly try to put me down, I know that I'm doing something, because I'll get Instagram DMs every day of girls sharing their stories with me, asking me how to break this so-called negative mental cycle. And I'm like, this is amazing. It makes all the people who tell me stop doing this, like it's not worth it, like you're not helping, it makes it worth it, because obviously I am.
Yep.
Yes.
And then
Absolutely.
on top of that, of course, back in our day, there wasn't social media, but
Right.
now social media multiplies the effect of bullying.
Absolutely. There's so many ways. And obviously, whenever y'all were kids, social media bullying probably wasn't necessarily as big as it is now.
There wasn't social media when we were kids.
Right. Right.
So now it went from verbal and physical bullying to now we have verbal, physical, and bullying through social media, which is crazy that we're trying to bring more awareness to it, and we're getting another effect of having another form of it. So the problem's growing, but at some point, there's only so many forms of bullying that can happen. At some point, there's going to be enough leaders and enough people to stand up that we can start to shrink the problem instead of letting it overtake us. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, because I was bullied too in high school and all that, and when I was younger. And I've always been, I love your platform, You Are Enough, because that's really was all my issue all my life. I always thought I wasn't enough. And because of that, it led me into 19 years of addictions until God healed me 13 years ago. It led me into so many things because when you don't feel like you're enough, you try to live up to something that you can't live up to. You no longer become authentic,
Absolutely.
and that's the worst thing you get. Like I actually believe when you look at a lot of the young stars on TV and stuff, when they make bad choices, especially artists, the young artists, you know, a lot of times when a label brings them on, then they try to mold them into what they think will sell. I truly believe that that's what causes a lot of these addictions because you got this artist now who's been authentic all his life. Now he's got this fake persona to live up to this label. And now he's or she is singing all these songs that they know don't fit them. And so they're wearing this mask, so to speak, and they have to use drugs and alcohol to cover all that up.
Yes. I was just in my high school beauty review, and I think the best thing that came out of that, I didn't win. I got second runner up to 2 seniors, which
Oh
was
wow.
amazing. But the best thing that came out of that was on our bio sheet that they had given us, they said one thing that you want the audience to know. And I was thinking I could say I sing, I could say I dance, but I want to say something that I truly believe in, and I want so many others to hear because I can post it on social media all day long. Someone can tap through my Instagram story in a matter of seconds, but if you're sitting in an audience, having to listen, having to watch, and having to be aware of what's going on, it's going to reach more people. So the thing
Yeah.
that I wrote down was I believe that young teen girls and boys should seek self-love instead of outside validation. And I believe so strongly in that because as someone who went through seeking outside validation and trying to fit in with the people that I knew I wasn't ever going to fit in with, made my middle school and some of my elementary years so hard. Instead of just knowing who I was and working on finding myself as a younger kid, I wasted years of my, I mean, obviously I'm still a kid, but like of my youth, trying to fit in. And I feel like I don't really have that many great memories from middle school or from elementary school until I joined the dance team because we had this initiative of hashtag be kind. We put it on t-shirts, we put it on sticky notes, we plastered this initiative everywhere. And whenever I went into high school, I thought this is the most amazing thing ever. Like, obviously, it's changing people's lives. And so that's whenever I created hashtag you were enough. And I really had thought before I even started pageantry. I was like, if I'm going to leave high school and all I'm going to have done was dance, that's fine. I want to make good grades. I want to do dance. I want to be with my friends. And I want to have a good high school experience. But what can I do to be one of the kids in high school that actually left a difference or made a mark at the school? So we started this year off with a new principal. He's absolutely amazing. He's made a huge difference in our school and definitely made sure that I have the tools and outlets that I need to get my platform all over the school. But I wanted to know that I was going to leave school with at least making a mark on one person or someone with a younger sister who was going to come up into the school division and could keep practicing what I preach so that it could reach so many more people even after I'm gone out of high school.
Wow.
Just doing little things like that make so much of a difference and you don't realize it because I have a friend with a little sister and I'll give her hashtag you were enough bracelets and I'll talk to her about these things and I'm thinking she's going to come up into my high school after I'm gone. Like I'm going to be a sophomore in college and she's going to be a sophomore in high school and someone is going to know about that and it's going to trickle down in some way. Once you start an initiative or a movement, it doesn't stop with the person it started with. If it reaches enough people, it can go anywhere, which I think is amazing.
You know, a lot of people, they see the glory of like a Miss USA, a Miss Universe, or they think it's all about the looks and all about that. And they don't see the sacrifice, the tears, the struggles that it takes, not just to get to their levels, but even in the pageant world, just to win anything and move up that ladder, so to speak. So I always want to talk about the sacrifice side because nobody really talks about that in any. I don't care what industry you're in. If you're going to the top, you're going to have to sacrifice. So I always want to make sure we hit that hard. So if you want to take a few more, let's just talk about that side of it, about the sacrifices you have made to get to where you are even at this point.
So thinking on that aspect is very weird for someone my age because I'm 14. Like, what sacrifices can a 14-year-old really make to her life? Like, not go to the movies with her friends? Like, you really think about it. And when people say that, I'm like, yeah, I understand. Like, how many sacrifices can a 14-year-old girl going into her sophomore year in high school, like, how many sacrifices are even really possible in her life? But when I think about that, and I really go in depth from the time that I've won into now, I've missed a lot, including friendships and different things, but not in a bad way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I know that whenever I go to a pageant or whenever I go to an event instead of going to a pool party or something, I know that I'm still leaving an impact, and I know that there's going to be another pool party some other time in the summer, and I know that my friends are still going to be there because my whole initiative is knowing who you are before you can put power and put time and energy into a friendship. So if I am confident enough with myself and I can make enough sacrifices to be who I am and know who I am, like losing friendships just to figure out who I am as a person, and those people still stay around, then maybe losing one or two friends isn't as bad. Because I have now figured out who I am and who I want to be and where I'm going in life. And knowing friends who stayed, I wouldn't even consider that really a sacrifice because all I've done was grown closer with those people because I know that they're going to stay around. So
you just found who the true friends are.
Exactly. So being 14 years old, making sacrifices, you can't really make that many sacrifices whenever you're my age because everything has an outcome. Every decision you make as a teen, these are like your molding years. Everything you do is going to have some type of positive aspect. You're going to bounce back from something. Something's going to knock you down, and it's going to take you a week, a month, a year, maybe only a day. But something's going to affect you enough that in a year or two, you may say, wow, like I never knew that I was strong enough mentally to overcome one of these obstacles.
Yeah.
So sacrifices at my age are just really more room for growth.
Love that. I love your attitude because again, that's, when you look at this next generation, as they say, and every generation is like that, to be honest. A lot of people, they look down at the generation that's coming up and like, oh, our country's horrible. But every generation said that exact same thing, and we're still here.
We are.
But I do love that attitude that you have because I think it needs to rub off on this next generation because without your type of attitude, we are doomed. I mean, to a degree. Because we need people that will stand in the gap like you will and say, look, you are enough. I believe in you. Because anybody can get out there and say, and bully and do this and put people down. I mean, it's all, sometimes when people ask, well, why is the young people acting out? And I'm like, have you seen Facebook? Have you seen the adults? They're acting out because the adults are the biggest bullies of them all. Just watch Facebook. I'm like, so we need people like you that will stand in that gap, that will grow into a young woman that can say, you know what, I've done it, and you can too.
Thank you. One thing that I really like to think about whenever you say the next generation is our future, how would you describe your generation? In 2019, Miss USA, the year that Chesley Christ won, one of their questions was, what is one word that you would use to describe your generation? And I've thought about that question quite a lot because my generation is very controversial in a way. There's so many different things going on with the kids in my generation and so many different mental things and the ideas that go on in our friends and peers' heads. But one word that I really like to think about whenever someone says, how would you describe your generation? It's diverse. Really think about think about the people that we're growing up with now. There are so many different possibilities that we are a diverse group of young kids.
Mm-hmm.
We're growing up, and no matter, obviously, in every generation, no matter how many people there are on this earth, there's going to be a couple people that are just not going to do anything. And
That's so true.
That's awful to think about, but it's something that people have to come with terms with, because I feel like they see one person not doing anything and they think it's okay for them not to do anything. And that's not the truth.
Example matters.
You have to make a personal change and not be influenced by the ideas of someone else if you want to have a good life. So choosing how you want to be as a person is going to overall help the next generation and help our generation and the next 5 generations after that. So a couple people not doing anything with their life, or a couple people ending up in the wrong direction, it's awful to see, and I hate seeing it, and I hate having to talk about it, honestly, but it's something that we have to talk about, because people say one person slack off doesn't mean that they can slack off. So coming together as a group of people, if we have 7 billion people on this planet and 100,000 of them are in my generation, and we have 2,000 of those 100,000 that aren't doing anything, that's still a ton of people who can make an impact. And there's just so many diverse people that we can make an impact, whether we have 2,000 people who aren't really doing much, or if we have all 100,000 who are making a difference.
Yep, there's power in numbers, that's for sure.
Exactly.
So staying on the troll thing a little bit here, because you are young, and we know that every young person, especially when they're rising out there and the type of stuff that you do, you're going to get trolls and stuff like that. So to help the younger people, how do you handle that? Because that's got to be, like I said, this didn't happen in our day. We were just called to our face stupid stuff.
Yes.
But you didn't have people that could be anonymous and just write what they want to write. We didn't have to deal with this. How do you yourself handle that side of what you do?
My whole idea of something is there's a lot of people who will think, say it to my face, and then I can deliver an attack to your face. But my idea is I don't need them to say it to my face. Their words are going to hurt, whether it's over the internet or in person. Their words. No matter who they come from, your best friend or from a random person. Words are going to hurt. That's how humans are made. That's what we have to deal with growing up in life. So my whole aspect of looking out on that is, yes, say it to my face or say it to me through online. It's still going to have the same impact. But I can control that impact no matter what. I can take it how I want to take it. If I want to let their words hurt me and keep me down, I can do that. Or I can take those words and turn it into a backbone and take it and turn it into an armor that I can use to understand that someone else is going through something much worse than I am. And maybe all I need is it's okay that you said that to me, because I'm strong enough to know that I'm mature, that I can take those words and I can still turn them into kindness in a way that can help you.
Yep, you take their bricks and you build your foundation with.
Exactly.
When we were growing up, they always had this whole nursery rhyme type thing: sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt. I hate that, because actually it should be sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will always hurt me type thing. Because that people don't get that words are that powerful. And that's right. I remember I changed it to sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will always scar me.
Yes.
Because that's the part that people don't really get, is it's about the scarring. The scars of the heart you never really heal from. You get to the point to where you can overcome it, but you don't really. It's like a broken. You throw a dish down on the ground and it breaks. You can glue it back all you want, but it's never
gonna be the same that it was.
When words get out there into people's head and stuff, they're never going to be the same. Now, granted, they can grow from it, like you have,
Mhm.
and all that. They can grow from it. But I wish people would understand that words are that powerful.
I think that whole idea of sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. You're correct. It's a complete lie.
Mhm.
Words are always going to
Mhm.
hurt no matter what, or like I said, who they come from. And they're always going to scar, but it's your choice if you let them break you.
Yeah.
You can crack a dish plate and it still be in good like tact and you can still use it.
Mhm.
Or you can stop trying to fix that scar, fix that crack and grow from it, and you can just let it yourself break. Or you can continue to move on with your life and just let
Or
that
have a
be
breakthrough with
something.
it.
Yeah, or just continue to let that crack or that break or that hurtful word be something that pushes you forward and uses you as momentum to keep yourself together and help others.
Exactly. Because, all the scars that I've had in my past and through the addictions, all that has actually given me I remember a quote years ago that said, God will turn your mess into your message. And that's what I feel like it's done with me is all my past has created this really great inspiring message for people to say, look, you're not alone.
Um, yeah. So the mess into the message, I've never heard that, and I'm so happy that you just said that because thinking about my story and my journey and where I came from and how I all had to come to terms with what was actually happening to me. I remember one night after I got my dog is the best thing ever. She's like a little anxiety therapy that just like calms me down. I was on the back porch and I was just crying and just crying and just crying, and I couldn't understand why. And I couldn't understand why I was letting these words affect me so much.
Mhm.
And I couldn't figure it out because you're not supposed to have to deal with these things as a fifth grader. You're not supposed to have to worry about what people think of you. You're supposed to be on the playground having fun, swinging on monkey bars, just like doing what normal kids do. And instead, I was having to think about how I felt about myself.
Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
mom came out onto the back porch and got me, and I had to tell her what was happening at school and explain to her why I've been how I've been. And if I didn't take that time on the back porch that night and really think about it and absorb what was happening to me, mom never would have found me out there crying. She never would have found out what was happening at school. I would have had to keep going to school and kept dealing with the same people over and over and over again. And I never would have been who I am today doing what I'm doing right now.
Exactly.
The mess into the message is something that I would probably put everywhere now. So thank you.
and,
But
and
the whole idea of that because so many people think that their mess is what's going to define them for the rest of their life. And you're right to a certain point. You can let it be your personality and let your mess be who you are for the rest of your life, or you can use it as a momentum to push you to where you want to go.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so crazy what goes on out there. And speaking of the good side now, because we talked about a lot about the
Mhm.
sacrifice, let's go the other way. What are some moments where you're like, wow, that happened, or wow, I got to do that?
So, whenever I decided I was going to compete, it was freshman year. I had just started kind of getting into the swing of like being in high school, dealing with high school stuff. And I was in the car and I was like, I want to compete. I don't know what I want to compete in. I don't know if it wants to be music, if I want to keep competing in dance. I don't know what I
Oh,
want to
wow.
Wow.
I want to compete in something. And the whole reason that I kind of quit doing theater and I started doing school dance is because I wanted to be involved with my school. Theater served its purpose. It gave me a foundation of confidence that I never had before. So being involved with dance helped me be involved with my school and give me confidence and not be so anxiety driven at school.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So competing with dance and being with those girls and knowing that I had a family away from home was amazing because after the end of a theater show, you don't know when you're going to see that exact group of people ever again. It's always
Yeah.
different
Right.
classes. But being on dance, I knew that I was always going to have at least one of the same people with me at all times that I could always rely on. But whenever it came to pageantry, obviously the same girls are not group of girls is not competing at every single pageant all over the globe.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't happen. There's so many people. Pageants is a huge thing that you're never going to have the exact same group of girls competing every single year. It's going to grow or it's going to shrink. So whenever I was in the car, I was on my way to vocal lessons, which is something I enjoy doing. And I just started writing a song about something that had happened to me in my life that was kind of breaking me and hurting me. And I didn't really understand what was going on once again. And so I decided, Savannah was talking about my sister, she's a cosmetologist. She was talking about going and doing hair and makeup at this pageant called Miss Magnolia State. And one of my friends, her name is Rebecca Wallace. She was the 2020 Junior Miss Magnolia State. So she crowned me. I've known her forever. I met her through theater. And she was crowned. And she was going to go and do makeup, hair and makeup for the girls competing for Rebecca's crown. And I was like, why don't I go? So I thought about it for the car ride. And then I told my mom, like, right before we got to the vocal lessons, I was like, why don't I compete? She was like, she was like, you've never wanted to do pageants. Like, why all of a sudden? Like, why now? I was like, I don't know. She was like, okay, well, yeah, you can compete next year. I said, this year.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And she was like, there aren't really any titles, Larissa. Like, a lot of them are being canceled because of COVID. And I was like, are there no, like, at-large titles left? Like, that can be awarded one through registration? Like, is there no way that I can compete this year? I need to compete. I need something going on to focus what I'm feeling. So she was like, well, maybe. So she reached out to the director. He's my pageant director, Chris Shannon. He's absolutely amazing. He runs the Little Miss and Mr. pageant, and he runs the Big Girl pageant. He's absolutely amazing. He was like, yeah, we're giving girls at-large titles through registration this year. Because of COVID, a lot of the preliminaries couldn't happen. We had a lot of local directors bail out. And I said, okay, we're going to do this. We have 1 month to get in shape, find a dress, an outfit of choice, an opening number, registration, hair, makeup, everything. Figure everything out. So we had a month. So I said, okay, we're going to do this. So I went into vocal lessons, worked on my song, which I'm still working on today. So I'm praying that something good's going to come out of that soon. But I came out and Mom said, we're going to go over to one of our close friends' house who also does pageants, and she had some stuff that didn't fit her anymore, so I was going to go over there and try it on. So I went over there and tried it on, found an opening number outfit and an outfit of choice. Then a couple days later, we went over to another great friend of ours, and we found an evening gown, and that was our last piece. Like, that was the last thing we needed. Savannah was going to do my hair and makeup. We were already going to have a hotel room because she was going to be there. We had all these things, and all of a sudden Mom was like, what are you going to do leading up to this? Like, you can't just go in there like a bad one. Mom had competed in pageants for years, like Miss Mississippi. She was Miss Mississippi 2014. She went to Mrs. America. And I was like, I'm going to do what you did. I'm going to turn my pain into my story, and we're going to figure something out to, one, have me something to go into this pageant believing in and promoting. But also, worst comes to worst, I come out of this changing one of those girls backstage, changing their lives, and making them realize that they're enough. So I thought about what I had gone through. I thought about how I was feeling over these past few years, and I created #YouAreEnough. So I wanted everyone to realize after I won that one of the main things that I had done was that I didn't go and buy a $2,000 dress and a $5,000 set of earrings or these crazy amounts of money or anything. I had the confidence in myself that no matter what I was wearing,
you just was authentic.
Yes.
Exactly. I wanted to make sure that people realized that I bought every single piece of clothing that I wore this past year had been worn at Magnolia State before, and we borrowed.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
We added a $25 belt to my dress, and that was it. We ordered a $13 pair of shoes off of Amazon, and I wore a borrowed dress with a $25 belt, some earrings that I'd had in my closet forever, and a $13 pair of shoes.
Wow.
Wow.
And I wore the dress. I went and I wore my confidence more than I even focused on what I was actually wearing.
Oh,
So
cool.
everything kind of just added up. Everything was perfect, and it just all came together.
And it worked.
Exactly. And so many people have come up to me and been like, "Where'd you get your dress? Where'd you get your outfit of choice? Like, how did your interview go? Like, how'd you do so well in the interview?" And I'm like, I was me. I did what I know how to do best. I did what I had been trying to
You are enough.
do my entire life. And it finally all clicked in my brain during my interview with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I did an interview, and then on stage, I found the confidence in what I was wearing and how I looked enough that the judges saw that. So many people think you need to go buy a new dress every year, or you need to spend all this money on crazy things. And I'm like, no. The dress is not going to make you win. How you look is not going to make you win. It's going to add to that and show that you are respectful of yourself enough to actually get up and put in effort to how you look. But at the end of the day, they're not looking for who's the prettiest. This is not a most beautiful pageant. This is a pageant for who can be an ambassador of Mississippi and spread their word and their beliefs of what they believe in all over, which is what I really focused on doing.
Wow.
So going and wearing confidence as my main piece of armor was one of the most amazing things that I've ever felt. And then standing in top two with one of my great friends now.
Oh, cool.
The second I took my last step to come down to the front, I knew. I knew because I was like, this is my first pageant. Go in there, do what you want to do, and have fun. But I knew as soon as I made it to top two, there was no way that I hadn't won because I couldn't have done anything better.
Wow, that's amazing.
Now last weekend, wasn't it? You were part of helping, wasn't it?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
I said on TJ Kate's OBTV Live, I accidentally said I judged, but I actually got to MC, which is one of my favorite things to do.
Oh, wow.
Oh, fun.
I love speaking to audiences. I obviously love doing interviews and stuff like this. But I got to MC, and I actually ended up crowning 3 girls who were going to come and compete for my title of Junior Miss Magnolia State.
Oh, wow.
This pageant is November 19th through the 21st. So a lot of people, I'm going to get off track for a second, but a lot of people ask me why it's a 3-day pageant. And it's because you have to go through prelims and finals. But the first day is rehearsal, so you get to meet everyone.
Because people only see Miss USA on TV, and it looks like it's a 3-hour event, but it's way more than that.
They're there for Miss USA for I think at least 2 weeks, which is
wow. Yes.
Being away from home for that long sounds scary, but being away from home for 3 days and still being able to be with people that I love was not that bad. So I think everyone thinks of being on stage as a scary thing, but like you're in junior miss and you're in teen, you have to have a legal guardian with you. So like you're still with people that you love and you know. So it's not scary. But back to helping this weekend. Yes, I got to crown 3 girls who are coming for my title in November. And I'm very, very excited. I've already started finding dresses to crown in and different things like that.
Wow.
But I am probably going to cry harder on November 21st than I will ever cry for the rest of my life, even whenever I eventually get married and I'm older. I think I will cry harder on November 21st than I will ever cry for the rest of my life, because that means that this journey of this title is over and a new journey begins.
So is the new journey Miss Teen?
I don't know. So I'm under contract right now, which I can't compete in anything that
right. I understand that.
Which is completely fine because I have to be an ambassador for Magnolia State, which is a dream come true. But I can't compete at all the year that I've been in right now, 2021 to November 21st. As soon as November 21st is up, I am released in my contract and I can go and compete somewhere else. But there's so many great Mississippi pageant systems that lead to nationals that I haven't really decided on just one yet that I'm like, yeah, that is my main goal. I may compete in 3 or 4 statewide pageants that lead to a national next year, or I may only compete one. Or I may decide that pageantry isn't something that I want to do for the rest of my life, but it's now giving me this outlook of hashtag you enough that I can promote whether I'm pageantry or not. So
Love that.
no matter what I decide to do after I give up my crown, which actually I'm here today, everyone asks me. But after I give up my crown and after I give up my title, no matter what I decide to compete in, what I decide to do, I have grown an enormous amount from something that I never would have thought was even possible.
Love that. As you know, a lot of people, they see the person, but they don't see the teams behind the people. And it doesn't matter whether you're an artist, an actor, a pageant person. It takes a team of people
Yes.
to make all this work. And in my opinion, the teams never get the love they deserve.
No.
So if you want to take a few moments just to tell us about the team that helped you out.
I would love to. So, like I said, you don't need a ton of money to get your team or your outfits or everything that you need together. My sister did my hair and makeup. She is a cosmetologist that she went to school and she got a degree for it. So I guess that kind of helps a little bit because she doesn't charge me because I'm her sister.
I gotta love that.
Yeah.
But you can do your own hair and makeup. But if you would like for Savannah, my sister, to do your hair and makeup, you can find her on Instagram and Facebook under Absolutely Savvy Artistry. She's amazing. She can work with anything, hair and makeup, work with extensions, anything you want. And then for my alterations, Miss Sam Holmes did it. She's amazing. She works so quickly and somehow managed to take in some clothing that was absolutely huge on me and make it look like it was made for me. And then my spray tan came from Robin Lampkin. She's also amazing. It was perfect the entire weekend. I felt so confident and beautiful, and it was even, and it was just amazing. Wow. And then a lot of people ask me this, but no one did my pageant coaching except for my mom, which a lot of people were surprised about because usually mother and daughter duos fight a lot.
Yes.
No one says that we did not. We did have disagreements, but at the end of the day, I knew that she was trying to help me. And so my mom ended up doing all my pageant coaching and helping me where I am today.
I love that.
Awesome.
Now, speaking of teams, we have a third co-host, our little 9-year-old.
We do, yes.
Sandy's going to go
I will get him. His name's Christopher.
Hi.
And we've got a 2-year-old that when she gets older, we'll be plugging her into the show too.
All right.
And you know what? When she gets 3, 4, somewhere there, we'll probably be starting her out in like dance and all that. Because everybody we talk to that's young like you, it almost seems like that's where everything began was dance. So we're like, okay, well, that may be the route we need to go with her and see what happens.
I never took a dance class whenever I was little. My sister was on dance team from 7th grade to senior year, and now she still loves dancing. I took a dance class. I just kind of learned from whatever she was doing. So I guess dance is where it kind of all started, but
for you it didn't.
Yeah, but now it's kind of led here. So hi, Christopher.
Hi, Larissa. So what's your favorite food?
Ooh, good question. My favorite food, probably fruit. It's always been something that I enjoy. At the lake that we go to every summer, we get a big watermelon, and we eat the watermelon all as a family, and so it's just kind of a great pastime.
And what's yours?
Mine is pizza.
Pizza's good. Pizza's very, very good.
Yeah.
We need to get them as a sponsor. We need to get a pizza place as a sponsor because he's always saying pizza.
Kind of dangerous for me, but you know.
Next.
Okay, what's your favorite TV show?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I watch. So, fun story. I actually don't watch a lot of TV because I'm so busy. I watch a lot of YouTube. But one of my favorite TV shows is probably Glee because it involves some of my favorite things: theater, drama, and singing and dance.
Well, I watch a lot of YouTube videos too.
I watch YouTube more than I watch Netflix or TV things.
Yeah, he watches the kids' YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes.
It has everything. Tutorials.
Yeah.
He's always trying. If we're trying to look up something, he always tries to find it.
Oh yes.
Yes. I have a problem. My dad would be like, Google it. And I'm like, no, you got to YouTube it. Like YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube's way better because again, it's step by step, and you see how to do something. So
Okay,
uh,
it was. Oops.
and you know what's cool about this show is he watches a lot of Nickelodeon shows,
Right.
and it's been great because we've been able to bring on quite a bit of people that are on Nickelodeon on this show. So he's been able to talk to some of his favorite
That's
people.
amazing.
And what's your favorite TV show?
My favorite TV show is SpongeBob.
I love a good SpongeBob episode. You could never go wrong with SpongeBob, ever.
Yes.
One more question.
One more
Okay,
question.
what's your favorite movie?
Give me 1 second to think.
We'll put the little pageant timer.
30 seconds to answer. I would say one of my favorite movies is Pitch Perfect because, again, music related.
Mhm.
And I've always thought of
That's a good movie.
a very interesting thing that a lot of people think is easy to do because you're just singing without music or without instruments. But whenever you look at Pitch Perfect, they create instrument sounds with their mouth. And I'm like, are you from a different planet? I don't understand how people do it. So I think that movie is just so interesting. Because
You should look up a group called
Naturally 7.
Naturally 7. We had them on.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, they were awesome.
And they were really good, but that group, it's like I've watched videos of them before I reached out to them. I was like, wow, because you would think that they got drums and guitars and all this. They're a whole band without the band.
Yeah. Pentatonics is another big a cappella group.
Mhm.
They'll make all these noises with their mouth, and I'm like, I don't know how they do it. I don't understand how that comes out of them. I just don't get it, but it's amazing.
Bye.
Yeah, he loves that part. We've done almost 400 interviews, and he's probably been in 90% of them.
Right.
Yes.
It's great to grow up in front of the camera sometimes.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, yes. He says he's going to have his own podcast someday. So
we're being the example here.
yes.
Wow. That's great.
All right. So who inspired you the most to start doing pageants?
Probably my mom, because my entire life, her and my sister and my dad, of course, they've all been great influences on me to make sure that I'm going where I want to be going and I'm headed in the path that I choose. And they've always encouraged me to do what I love and to live out the dreams that I have, not what they have. But especially my mom, because she always told me, if you want to do a pageant, I will be here for you every single way. But I'm not going to force you to do a pageant. I'm not going to ask you to do a pageant. I'm not going to force you to do anything. If you want to do a pageant, that is your choice.
Yeah.
And she never brought it up again until I told her that I wanted to do Miss Magnolia State.
Wow.
And that's whenever she said, okay, we're going to do it. But if we're going to do it, we're going to go full in.
Right.
Okay.
The only way to do anything.
It is.
Exactly. And so we did what we had to do. And
Here we are.
And here. What would you like for your legacy to be? What would you ultimately like to be known for?
if I had to be known for anything, I obviously love to sing and I love to dance and I love to do pageants now as a new thing. But I would love to start up a nonprofit organization for #YouAreEnough and get it outside of Mississippi. And even after I'm gone and old and gray, I can look down on the earth and see that I've made some type of impact in a child or an adult's life and know that it's going to be here for a long time and that I don't have to continue to share my story because there's so many people that want to get involved with it and they want to share their story. And that I bring someone at least just an ounce of confidence to the point that they can come to someone, whether it be a therapist or someone that they trust, and talk about their story in a productive way that breaks this negative cycle and they can get to a better place to inspire others.
Love that.
Yes.
So as we come to a close here, I've got a final question. It's kind of a two-part question coming from two different perspectives. What advice would you give a person, a young girl that she wants to take the same route that you are? And what advice would you give the parents so that they don't push too hard?
Talking about the child aspect, giving advice to a child, you can't go into it doing it because you want to feel pretty or beautiful. You have to go into it doing it because you want to make a relationship with a new friend, or you want to find confidence, or you want to make an impact on someone. If you go into it wanting to feel pretty, then it's not going to work. You can't go into it asking to find yourself through pageantry. You have to know who you are and help it build you.
Love that.
Love
So
that.
if you're going in because you think that pageantry is going to be the thing that makes you feel pretty, then I'm sorry to break it to you, but it won't, because obviously in pageantry there's a lot of hairspray and glitter and glam and hair and makeup and everything. And that's great, but if at the end of the day you cannot wipe all that off and take all of that out of your hair and put on sweatpants and a sweatshirt and still feel as electric and as beautiful as you were whenever you were on stage, then you're doing it wrong.
Love
So,
that.
go into pageantry with the idea of, I want to make a friendship. I want to grow as a person, not let it become who I am. And then from the aspect of a parent, as a mom who did pageants and as a sister who's involved with hair and makeup and wanting to make sure that everything looks right and that everything looks good. Not perfect, but well, so that you look presentable and you look good. But don't force them into pageants. Don't do it because you think it's going to give them confidence. They have to go into it with confidence and have enough that it can just, like I said, grow them. So putting them into it because you want them to make some friends, maybe. Putting them into it because you want to have some mother and daughter time with them, yes. You can't go in there with an expectation for them, because at the end of the day, if they don't uphold that, then you're going to feel disappointed as a parent. And that's never something that you want to have with a child, is a disappointed relationship because they didn't hold up to that you expected of them. If you go in there expecting them to win or expecting them to make top 15 or top 5 or top 10 or top 2, and they don't do that, then at the end of the day, you have to be able to have that relationship and that connection with them to say it's okay to feel defeated, but if you want to do it again, then we'll get back up and we'll do it again. But you never want your child to feel like as if they don't perform to the expectation that you have for them, then you're going to be disappointed in them.
Love that.
That was a great thing that my mom did, was that she never expected me to win. She never expected me to make top 15, top 10, top 2.
And yet there you are.
And yet here I am. And it was because I knew that throughout the entire thing, win or lose, there were 32 people in my division. I could have been 32nd. I could have been the very last person to ever be on anyone's mind. She was still going to be so proud of me at the end of the day. And that's why I knew it was okay that no matter what, I was going to come home with a crown on my head in reality, or an invisible crown on my head, and it was going to be made out of confidence and love and support from my family and peers.
Love that. So tell everybody how they can reach out to you social media.
So social media, I have a lot of accounts, but I will just give you my 2 pageant accounts. On Instagram, to follow me as a person through all different pageant experiences that I have, and to follow #YouAreEnough. Follow Life with Larissa on Instagram. That is _.life.with.Larissa_. So kind of lengthy title, but that's how you find me on Instagram. And then I have also recently started up the Junior Miss Magnolia State official account. So when my year is done, I will pass that down to the next year's winner. But you can keep up with the next 7 months of my journey on that account, which is just Junior Miss Magnolia State on Instagram. And then on Facebook, I am Larissa Gaines, Junior Miss Magnolia State.
Love that. And we really enjoyed having you on the show today. We definitely look forward to having you back for updates.
Thank you. I would be more than honored to.
It's our pleasure.
Thanks so much.